Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. Are you buying Mitch Trubisky now?
Look, the day they drafted him, here was my take, and I still feel the same way. I loved having a general manager that had conviction and that had the guts to go, I don't care. I'm getting that guy. He woke up that morning and he said to his wife, I'm drafting Mitchell Trubisky, and no one's going to prevent me from doing it. And so he traded up one spot, and everyone blasted him, and he was getting calls for his pick, and they're obviously coming up to take a quarterback. You're not trading up for a linebacker, so he made sure he got him. But my response to him when I got him on the air was, I love what you did, Ryan, but you better be right. And he wasn't. Mitch is a great kid, and he's a real hard worker, and he's a very pedestrian player.
So is there any expectation that because look, the last time these two teams played in Week 8, it was Nick Foles. So it's going to be a very different game feel anyway, for that reason, if nothing else. But is there any reason to believe that Trubisky would be able to lead this Bears offense into the Superdome on Sunday and have success and put him in a position to win the game?
Yes, they absolutely can. So I'll give you an example. They played Green Bay, who I think is a far superior team to the Saints. And that's not a shot at the Saints. That's praise for Aaron Rodgers, who's going to win the MVP pretty convincingly. And their game plan was, we are going to take care of the ball. We are not going to turn it over. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to go for it on fourth down. Well, they ran the ball. They dominated time of possession. And in the fourth quarter, it was a 21-16 game. The Bears were 5 of 5 on fourth down. Now it's the sixth time on fourth down, and they got the ball deep in Green Bay territory with, I want to say, 7-8 minutes to go. You're right in a ball game. And instead, I thought they should have kicked a field goal there, making a 21-19 game. Aaron threw 3 balls that were dropped by our defensive players for interception. I don't mean like it would have been amazing catches, right to them. So they played the game perfectly, and they don't get the fourth down. Green Bay comes down, scores, and then Mitch tries to make a hero play, and it gets picked off, and they end up taking that drive and score again, and we lose 35-16. But that was a 21-16 game with 7.5, 8 minutes to go. Yes, they can win. Doesn't mean they will. They can.
It is the NFL. Of course, believe me, every Saints fan was watching that game pulling for the Bears for obvious reasons. The Saints were still eyeballing the 1 seed. Dave, obviously you have your finger on the pulse of the city. What is the vibe there? I mean, this was a team that, points in the season, man, didn't feel like Matt Nagy's on the hot seat, Trubisky's bench, it's Foles, he's not having success, now you're back to Trubisky. But I'll be damned, it comes to the end and you're in the playoffs. So, I mean, what is the vibe, which seems like it's been some ebbs and flows this year in Chicago?
I think people are excited that they're going to wake up on Sunday and they've got a Bears game to watch. Now, we're going to be double-digit underdogs, and if you asked me, I had to make a bet. I'm betting on the New Orleans Saints to win the game, not the Chicago Bears. But people also feel like, hey, man, we make a few smart decisions here and we don't turn the ball over, we've got a chance. For me, the key to the game is they got to pressure Drew Brees and they have to stop the run. Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn are being paid a combined $210 million to rush the quarterback. They have not had a good year there. Now, if they get home and they force Drew into a couple turnovers, well, it's a totally different game, and so people are holding out hope on that.
Cap, is there a spot on the field where the Bears do have the edge? Like, is there a matchup where you say the Bears have the edge there?
Wow, that's a great question. They don't have the edge at quarterback. They don't have the edge at wide receiver. They don't have the edge, although I love our running back, David Montgomery, but Alvin Kamara is at a different level. He's really good if he's going to play. Our offensive line's not as good as yours. Our defensive line is not as good as yours because they're banged up. Our inside linebacker, Roquan Smith, may not play with an elbow injury. And then our young corner, Jalen Johnson, was limited today, hasn't played in 2.5, 3 weeks. And I don't think there's one aspect of the game where you go, boy, the Bears have an edge there.
Which is why, like, you sort of cobble together this idea of how could it go the Bears' way, but I'll get there in a second. Could you update Roquan Smith, like whatever you know there, and if he doesn't play, like how does that change the Bears' defense?
That's a devastating loss. He was our best player this year. He was our MVP, no question about it. And he dealt with a dislocated elbow last weekend, left the game late in the first half and never came back. And I'm just telling you, I don't know how you tackle if you have a dislocated elbow. So I'll be surprised if he plays. Again, he didn't practice today, and that will really affect our ability to stop the run because this guy is really, really active and mobile and fast and athletic. He's all the things you want. Our inside linebackers, if he's not playing, are Danny Trevathan, who's getting up in years. He's a solid number 2 guy. And then a guy named Josh Woods, who's a journeyman player. And if you don't have Jalen Johnson at one corner to go with Kyle Fuller at the other, you got issues there as well. And then our nickel corner, Buster Screen, has missed the last 3 games in concussion protocol. So we've got some issues.
You probably just ran through it all right there, but I was kind of checking out the injury report. Are there any other like notable injuries that are maybe game time decisions that are worth keeping an eye on before Sunday?
Yeah, the other one is Darnell Mooney. Now, it's a 5th-round draft pick, rookie. He had 11 catches the other day against Green Bay, and I called it a Tom Waddle game. If you remember Tom Waddle, who played for the Bears, he's one of my radio partners.
Right.
Tommy had 11, 12, 13 catch games for like 72 yards. He was not a stretch-to-field guy. Mooney had 11 catches for 93 yards. He flies, though. He can stretch the field. If they don't have him, then Anthony Miller better be another really solid option because Allen Robinson's going to get double-teamed.
Dave Kaplan, just for a couple more, he's on Twitter at the Capman, ESPN 1000 in Chicago, Cap and Jay Hood, weekday 7 to 10 a.m. If the Bears win this game, what's the blueprint?
The Bears win this game. A, they run the ball effectively. B, Mitch does not turn it over. The Bears get at least 2 takeaways, and they find a way to win the time of possession battle, and they don't settle for field goals. If that happens, the people in New Orleans might be crying in their beignets that night.
God, please help us. There's been enough heartbreak here in the playoffs the last 3 years.
At least you get there. At least you're in the playoffs.
That's true, man. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.